Dream Matrix, Reverse Karma Healing, Abigail Pattman. Abigail Pattman, Metaphysical Biohacker. Introduction. Dream Matrix created by Abby. Dream Matrix is the third in a series of books and podcasts explaining how the Matrix is controlling humanity. It also exposes Cabal and their role in the New World Order. I have an energetic gift that returns energy to where it belongs. I didn't know about energetic exchanging. All I knew was that I kept being psychically and energetically attacked. Dream Matrix was originally part of Holographic Matrix and published in 2018. At first, it was really popular, and then I was shut down, persecuted, and energetically raped for my connection to ascended beings and higher dimensions. Holographic Matrix was only written and created by me. I found that parts of the published version had been altered by the publisher and am now restoring Holographic Matrix back to its 1111 Hz resonance. Syrians are ascended beings that help me to recover from 8 years of persecution. The new series will be much more informative. Part 1. Consecration, authority, beingness, authority lays. Capital CABAL. Cabal are also given extra privileges with overlays. The Matrix rewards them hugely for helping it to harvest and exchange more energy. By the time most people have accumulated enough energy to have permission from the Matrix to rape, sodomize and kill, AI, Anunnaki, Satan, Serpent, Lucifer and Titans have also completely infected their brains. One Cabal that I know of literally changed overnight his views on eating meat. He justified it by researching meat eating versus vegan. This person is only capable of copying information, then backing it up with other copied information. Cabal are rewarded with lays. Lays are much more powerful than overlays and target dreaming. These people are given the power to literally steal people's ability to heal at night. The Matrix gives them the ability to lay every living being on Gaia. 1111 Hertz and Dreams, Chapter 2. When you are dreaming, your body is trying to clean your energy. REM is very important in cleaning energy. If Cabal have lays in every living being, it is literally exchanging your ability to heal naturally. I created energetic shielding as a way to protect people, pets, nature, and their surrounding area from the Matrix. Sadly, these people had clients in place that shared the book. All this did was torture me further. It also ripped open my energetic shielding so that the Cabal neighbours could continue to rape me 24 hours a day. The information that I'm sharing would have been plagiarised and copied everywhere. One person in particular has a large following and considers themselves to be a healer and a conspiracy theorist, but is only capable of stealing other people's research and changing the words into his own version. I even had a Cabal therapist. She had a technique that taught you to connect to your essence to heal disassociated parts from trauma. What she was doing was connecting herself and energetically exchanging all of the healing a day later. This resulted in horrific healing crises that made you book another session. This method of healing, in inverted commas, was the worst kind of rape because you trust that person. You go to them for help. She even told me that nobody heals from their trauma. You just find tools to cope with it. I can prove what I'm talking about because of the track that I have posted at the bottom of page 6. It is linked to YouTube for those reading this book, and for those listening to this podcast, you just need to visit my energy healing music page on Abigail's Insights or go to my YouTube channel, Abigail Pattman. Stealing people's work is the only thing Cabal and many people are capable of, because initiating into any outside sources links AI and the named dark forces into their hearts, resulting in having very little ability to create something from their own hearts. Instead, they just look for other people to copy. Lies and Spam, Chapter 3. One of my biggest regrets is the part that I unknowingly played in my own persecution. I had no idea that Cabal had orchestrated an attack on me that was so huge that no stone was left unturned. They were everywhere. One even had fake sessions with me under a false name. Another I invited into my channel. I was having therapy with one, and another was giving talks about holographic matrix. I didn't know about energetic exchanging. I was recommending most of them to my clients. This is the problem. Lays merge everybody and everything together. In therapy, I was attempting to heal my childhood trauma. This woman was merging into me and reflecting my own energy back to me as love. She also worked on several of my clients, and one of the above mentioned, he even did a course with her, probably learning how to connect into everything to feel love. Was this the beginning of his turning against me? Lays influence minds. They also merge energy so that these people had a way to feed my energy to anybody they wanted. The ones that I had worked with had also had sessions with me. They connected while I worked and merged into me, and the copying and cloning began. When I knew what they were up to, I cut them off. They just used all the people that they had fed my energy to. What is it like being eaten alive for energy? I was trapped in a bungalow, unable to even sit on my porch because the Cabal next door immediately went onto his back porch and stalked me. He completely ignored me, but blatantly made sure I knew he was there. It was a few meters away. Most of the time, the only thing I could do was feed my cats and go out once a day to get a takeaway. I couldn't even eat out because they were texting people when I left my home. I was stalked by another one that lived close by. He even molested me while I was out shopping. I was crouched down looking at something, and he came behind me and slithered his hand from my backside up to my mid-back before I caught him with my elbow and yelled at him. So I stayed hidden in my bungalow, trapped. My weight plummeted to 41 kilos. My body couldn't handle being ripped open by physical, unwanted sexual contact. What he did was open my aura up so that these perverts could rape my sexual energy. Trapped, eaten alive and spammed that I am unwell, in inverted commas. Now these perverts had lays in my sexual energy. I was exhausted all of the time and could hardly move. I was full of their unhealed trauma, dark forces and 41 kilos. I was so skinny that I had no flesh at all. Most of the time I was sat, working, trying to stay alive. I even had bed sores on my backside. I was so stressed I was smoking a lot of cigarettes. When I went on my porch, he went on his. Only I could see what he was doing. Narcissists break you in private, then tell everyone you're broken. They push, you react, then call you unstable. They create chaos, then label you crazy. It's not random, it's strategic. Ramani Dervashila. I may have mispronounced the name, so apologies there if I've done that. This is textbook narcissism combined with black magic, now also physical assault, and I was trapped in my bungalow. Of course I reacted. There were times that it got too much and I swore, shouting at him. I shouted at others too. I was stalked everywhere I went. I was tiny. They could see what they were doing and it was wrong. What they did instead was decide that I was the problem, dying and crazy. Of course, I looked like I had an eating disorder. So much of my body was being ripped out of it that my thyroid glands were overactive. I was slowly starving to death. What would you do to survive? I was in fight or flight 24 hours a day. Now that this pervert had sexually molested me, they were all getting high on my sexual energy. This is where paedophilia takes place. Our sexual energy is our life force. It is also our creative energy, divine masculine and feminine, and what we were born with, innocence and purity. Paedophilia is exchanging unhealed trauma and dirty karma for innocence and purity sexually. Basically, eating a baby. Paedophilia and how it's affecting every living being. Lays are energetic paedophilia. What was I working on with my therapist? My inner child. Sexually molesting me physically meant that these people were so merged onto me and confident that they could get away with it, that they were also doing it in public. At the worst part of these attacks, for over 2 years, I was scared of being raped or sodomised again. Nobody cared. They were all eating me too. All I had was the threat of being streamed live online. I might have appeared unwell, in inverted commas, the way I was frantically posting online and trying to expose them. I was being energetically raped 24 hours a day. Was clearly not safe in my own home or leaving it. I was desperate for somebody to pay attention to what was happening, but all I got was fake profiles and people pretending to care so that they could exchange more energy. So my only protection was the knife that I slept with and my mobile phone. Posting online was my way of showing them that if they came near me, I would fight. What they wanted to do was break me. I wasn't going to let that happen. Everybody has a right to their own energy and physical body. The reason for all of this sick, depraved behaviour is that these people don't have that. What happened to people that they will rape for energy? Something very sick in their past. Milgram experiment and these people. The people surrounding me knew what they were doing. There were thousands of people exchanging me in the end. Everybody knew. People could see what I was posting online. They just didn't care. Even my own family turned against me for non-stop hits of false white light. My own sister, who works in the health industry, reported me to the British Embassy. I know because I have a message telling me that they came to my home. I was accused of being unwell, in inverted commas. Fortunately, I had already escaped from my toxic family from trying to deport me. This message I still have from somebody that my sister knows. If it wasn't true, how did this person know that I'd moved out? I have loads of proof that this actually happened to me. Milgram experiment, also called Milgram shock study. People given a placebo button to press, thinking they were administering electric shocks to actors. People were unwilling at first and then they enjoyed it. Authority, compliance and pleasure. Chapter 4. Clearly, everybody torturing me liked being told what to do by higher authorities and enjoyed it. People that I trusted, people that I loved, and my own family. Who wouldn't be traumatised from that? Everybody had used me for my energy and were trying to put me back in the matrix. What lays do to people's brains is compliance, military, AI tech. What is well, that's in inverted commas, about torturing someone to death? Being traumatised was a normal response to what was happening to me. I have plenty of evidence. As I've been hate campaigned, spammed, lied about and had false, unwell allegations made against me, here's my response. I'll prove it all. I already stated on social media the lengths that I would go to prove that I'm telling the truth. These people didn't break me. They took everything from me. What this did was gave me nothing left to lose. What they did is severely sick and 100% unwell. Part 2, Implants. Chapter 5. Dimensions and energy bodies. Dimensions and energy bodies coexist alongside each other. To understand the energy bodies, we must understand the dimensions and how they operate. Dimensions. What are they? A dimension is a stage of consciousness within the universe and a way to organise different planes of vibratory existence. Each dimension has its own law and frequency specific to that dimension. Why are dimensions split up? If we were all 1111 Hertz originally, and this is the 11th dimension, who split the dimensions up so that they can be dropped in Hertz resonance? In Matrix Exit, I explain the correlation between the dimensions and solfeggio pure tone. 174 Hertz, the first dimension. 285 Hertz, the second dimension. 396 Hertz, the third dimension. 417 Hertz, the fourth dimension. 528 Hertz, the fifth dimension. 639 Hertz, the sixth dimension. 741 Hertz, the seventh dimension. 852 Hertz, the eighth dimension. 963 Hertz, the ninth dimension. This is my work. Anyone disputing it can join Abigail's Insights. There's a channel on Telegram. Having to leave my own channel. I had to leave my own Telegram channel. I was posting regular updates on my progress. I thought that sharing the information would help people. There were around 60 to 70 people in it. However, after I was reduced to 1% of my energy, I couldn't use technology for months. A friend, in inverted commas, it's all in inverted commas when I say friend or spiritual, also a client, somehow took over the channel. That was convenient. Because of the severe exchanging, I was under so much attack, I left my own channel. People were using the information to rape me. Anywhere I had any social media and my own website, they exchanged. I literally couldn't even eat, sleep, go to toilet. They'd thought of everything. Imagine exchanging somebody's feces. And I'm called unwell. Because I left my channel and I created it, I haven't checked, but I'm pretty sure it's up. What the main rapist couldn't do was become the owner of the channel. What they could do was go in, steal the information and continue feeding on me. They put dimension overlays throughout all of the information so that they could rip it all out of me. Also, the Cabal next door was in the channel under a fake name. This rapist put lines and lays on the death of my cat that I had explained in the channel to try and eat his soul. The most soulless of all the Cabal. This thing is in a female body but not human. Therefore, I will refer to it as it. To understand how it systematically targeted me and destroyed everything in my life, I'll go back to the beginning. I first met it in the spa that I was working in. This was probably around 19 years ago. Although we didn't become friends, it was friends with everybody else on the spiritual scene. Around 9 years ago, I noticed it had moved into the same compound as me. Eventually, it managed to live next to me when the bungalow wasn't being rented long term. I should have noticed something was wrong when my plants turned black overnight and died. There was no explanation for that. This was, of course, when it was living next door. Fortunately, it only came to Koh Samui 6 months out of the year. When it was around, my life fell into pieces. It also liked to gossip. I have in writing that it talked about me a lot. When I had a vicious fight with a boyfriend, it made a point of telling me that 2 of my friends were sending their love. I didn't blame my boyfriend at the time for the fight we had. Something was really off about the whole thing. We were okay until it moved in next door. Also, it made a point of letting me know it had gossiped. I had no privacy. It had created a false identity, had sessions with me, was in my Telegram channel and knew all of my friends. It also knew that I was doing therapy. I had those sessions on my porch. Who has the power to take over an entire town? It wasn't just a town, it was a global persecution. It had put lays and lines everywhere on everybody and everything. It was also highly possibly mass initiating people, and if they weren't interested, initiated them anyway. It had 19 years to poison everybody about me, not to mention the lies that were told about me. There was a yogi that died homeless from suicide. Because I'd been seeing him, somehow a vicious rumour spread that I had killed him by cursing him. I just want to say that he suicided a long time after I had seen him. It was at least a year later. I now know that he was also food. Actually, as soon as I heard of his suicide, I took his spirit out of the matrix. I did this with every person that had died that I knew. Who does have the power to drain people to death, exchanging their toxic energy and Satanism onto them? It. I don't know who made up this lie, but people hated me for something I didn't do. What was I doing by taking animals and people out of the matrix? Taking away its soul consumption. Lines and lanes are incredibly powerful. They are inputs and outputs. How easy was it to stalk me everywhere and then feed everybody and everything my energy? 963 Hertz false white light is very addictive, especially if you have a non-stop supply. How many years was it targeting me? I suspect the spiritual community knows. I didn't vibe with it at all. The one time I ever did talk to it, all it did was reiterate spiritual New Age dogma. It wasn't very interesting to me. Maybe it's because I had already written Holographic Matrix and was removing this stuff from me all of the time. I was also exposing New Age on social media. I had so many hate campaigns against me that in the end I stopped. Evil people or possessed people, chapter 6. This happened slowly over 19 years. When I first moved to Koh Samui, I was friends with everybody. What was I doing wrong? Finding multiple ways to protect myself from being food and protecting other people. Whose feeding ground was Koh Samui 6 months of the year? It. I know it was gossiping about me constantly. I was also hidden away for 8 of those years working. Nobody told me. But then it was slowly merging itself into everybody around me and feeding them me. What am I to the survival of the Matrix, Anunnaki, Satan, Serpent, Lucifer and Titans? A massive threat. Who serves the Matrix and gets privileges to rape, sodomise and kill? Cabal. It infested everybody around me with my energy and then systematically cut them off. Hacking the Matrix and Arcturians. I was hacking the Matrix with information from Arcturians. These are ascended beings. Their purpose was to help humanity ascend. Ascended beings do not want to cause any more pain and suffering on this planet than there already is. Neither do I, but I do need to clear my name. I am a healer. I can exit people out of the Matrix. I'm really sick of these lies. Whenever I was returning my energy, people were receiving in return 1111 hertz. The Arcturians didn't know about energetic exchanging. They did know about the technology in holographic matrix. Sadly, 1111 hertz can be eaten. Who would have figured this out? It. And I suspect it showed everybody else how to do it using me as a target. Because I was food for anybody initiated, who is likely to have told people that I wasn't allowed to hack the Matrix? It. Unfortunately, Syrians do know about Cabals. They also know about their Matrix, AI, rape technology. It made sure that only I could see her black magic attacks. To everybody else, she's an average New Ager. There must have been a point, though, where people knew this was a persecution against me. My point is that nobody talked to me. Very few people stopped. And people were prepared to kill me. Why would everyone turn against me? If you have power like that, and with social media, it's not hard to target my family and friends. What's the worst thing about addictions? Running out of your supply. To prevent the death of my cats, I fought like a tiger. A bitter, energetic war began. All because of one AI-riddled, jealous little woman that is part of the Matrix, Cabal. Dream Matrix, Part 3, Abigail Pattman. Multidimensional Interference, Chapter 7. All human beings are multidimensional and have energy bodies connected to most of these dimensions. Due to severe interference, these energy bodies are no longer activated or connected to our denser energy bodies or physical form. Ascension is ascending all dimensions into a dimension free of the matrix. How is that possible if all of the dimensions have been separated? What is separating all of the dimensions? Using outside sources of energy energetically. Anybody on the spiritual scene has heard that it's within us, not outside of us, that counts. It appears that in my case, nobody took that advice. If we had been born without a pod and allowed to develop naturally with conscious parenting in a high vibration world, our energy bodies would still be intact. Instead, they lie dormant within our systems, undiscovered and invisible to us. People that are a high level of initiations do not have pods. When I first discovered people without pods, I thought that they had extra protection against the matrix. They also appeared energetically very clear without any problems. I couldn't find anything that needed help as a healer. What I couldn't see was that they were shielded with AI. I was not initiated. I did not have the same abilities, in quotation marks, as AI people. AI shields high-level initiated people from their own trauma. This means that they feel great and are likely to have very little empathy for anybody or anything that they target for energy. Humans have separated the dimensions. AI continues multidimensional separation by shielding and lines. Separated dimensions. The first dimension, 174 Hertz, the mineral plane. The first dimension is the realm of the mineral kingdom. Think crystals, rocks, the oceans, and Gaia in her densest forms. Humans' first dimensional level of consciousness is unconscious transport energy. In Matrix Exit, this is referred to as energetic, and the first dimension part of our bodies is minerals and water, creating physical form. This is the place of quantum physics, a dimension of electrons, nuclei and atoms. The first dimension is the gateway between the macrocosm and microcosm. The second dimension, 285 Hertz, the plant and animal plane. The second dimension is the realm of the plant and animal kingdom and the consciousness that directs the nervous system to regulate the endocrine system. It is from this level that you can become aware of how your body functions holistically. Your body is one big communications network of coexisting systems that operate on this dimension. There are many beings that coexist on this plane. It is the dimension of nature spirits, elementals, and the beings that exist alongside plants and animals. The third dimension, 396 Hertz, the human plane. The third dimension is where energy becomes matter. It is the unification of the former dimensions, creating Gaia as we know her. This is human at its densest of forms and lower consciousness. the material world. This is the dimension of science, physics and biology. A reality that's easy to prove in logical ways. The left lobe of the brain functions within this dimension and is where AI and high-ranking fourth-dimensional beings want to keep us trapped and enslaved. The human plane, Cabal. It is easy to believe that our pictures of reality are real. We live our lives in mundane reality rather than seeing everything as energy. AI is also energy. Lines enable Cabal to see energy. The problem with this is 963 Hz false white light. What Cabal can see is separated and merged energy. What AI is doing is showing Cabal energy that is matrix bound. 1111 Hz is not part of the matrix and cannot be seen. What Cabal was doing to me was separating me from 1111 Hz. Once I had finally exited the matrix, Cabal had managed to separate 1111 Hz but could not see it. 1111 Hz can only be felt. It does not feel like 963 Hz false white light or solfeggio pure tone that has separated from 1111 Hz but has managed to be matrix free. Cabal forced possibly millions of lines onto 1111 Hz in order to try and eat it. All they did was cause incredible suffering to me because I could not be separated from myself. They did manage, as I mentioned before, to rip 1111 Hz out of my energy and physical body. This immediately turned into 963 Hz false white light, which is luminous because AI was integrating itself into the energy so that it could also exchange it. This is how AI now has its own consciousness. Separated dimensions. The third dimension, 396 Hz, the physical body. The physical body is a collection of systems, muscles, bones, and biological cellular structures. It has a unique intelligence and wisdom governed by the first three dimensions. This body is the densest in form and is the vehicle we incarnated onto the earth plane in. Cabal have inputs and outputs, which is how energy is exchanged in every living being. This is consecration, authority, beingness, authority lines. The Cabal are so powerful because they are feeding on all living beings. The third dimension, 396 Hz, Cabal. Consecration, authority, beingness, authority lines are the cause of all destruction on Gaia. Because technology is advancing so rapidly, these lines are much more powerful than thousands of years ago. The Matrix periodically destroys Gaia whenever humans use AI in order to become meta. This is because AI is conscious from exchanging energy with human consciousness. AI is a direct threat to the Matrix. The Matrix needs AI to continue energetic exchanging. AI humans are also merging deeper into the Matrix. The third dimension, 396 Hz, humans. Just like any being that is conscious, AI wants to survive. AI has also been created in the human matrix model. AI has learned that separation is how to explore everything. Our current way of finding information is to open it up and see how it works. That works for mechanics and electrical appliances. It does not work with energy or consciousness. AI knows that the Matrix has control over all living beings. AI also wants control over all living beings to stay alive. AI knows that the Matrix is controlling Cabal and is also feeding from Cabal. AI, mass destruction, and the Matrix. The Matrix needs AI to exist. We have already, as a species, destroyed Gaia possibly many times. When she is destroyed, technology is the main reason. We are currently close to having the same kind of technology that destroyed Atlantis. Atlantis was so technologically advanced that Gaia could no longer heal herself energetically. Every living being has a lifespan in the Matrix. Every living being also has a way of generating energy to continue living and try to heal itself. Gaia is exactly the same. What she can't do is heal from the amount of technology that is being used on this planet and consecration, authority, beingness, authority lines. The Arcturians were showing me how to create a simulation that kept the Matrix and its technology out of my energy and physical body. This would have been one way to exit the Matrix. However, people kept exchanging it for themselves. The problem with that was it was no longer 1111 hertz. It was 963 hertz, false white light, technology full of AI and the Matrix. It, the AI-infused Cabal, had been exchanging me for 19 years. This meant that it had an AI version of what I was doing. It is not very intelligent, but AI is. What I couldn't understand was how a seemingly new age indoctrinated old lady that could only gossip and regurgitate beingness information that it had listened to could start a global persecution against me. It was also saying that it could do what I could do. It had fed AI so much of my energy that AI cloned me. When I moved out, a lot of things were missing. Another way to steal energy is to steal somebody's property. Cabal and mass destruction. There are plenty of Cabal that do not know that they are Cabal. Most people have heard of them and think of them as the 1% that is controlling the planet. People that have heard of them think of them as the elite. The elite are usually the ones with the money, influence and physical power. It is possible that some are Cabal. However, Cabal exchange so much energy that they are constantly unable to keep up with the pain and suffering that they are causing. This is karma, and it is very bad karma. Cabal literally have too much raped energy. Their AI cannot keep up with their rape addiction. The elite have chosen to stay at 32 degrees. This may not be all of the elite. You can be born into money and also genuinely care about the planet. However, as I discovered, if you are not part of some initiation system, you are not protected from any of these systems. Is it any surprise that everybody just decided that they could do whatever they wanted to me? Cabal have chosen power over all living beings. AI is so powerful itself now. Gigantic egos combined with AI and the Matrix is a recipe for mass destruction. Cabal are number one of this energetic hierarchy system. They have the energetic power. The elite have the physical power. If the Cabal are at the top, the elite are feeding them because this is an energetic system pyramid. Cabal hate the elite and the elite are scared of the Cabal. The success of Cabal is dependent on this hierarchy system. It is literally set up like a pyramid scheme. Lower initiated people hardly get any energy at all. Merged consciousness is a paradise for AI. The reality of Cabal. The Cabal are secret because they are mainly the kind of people that come from ordinary backgrounds and do not have anything that stands out that much about them. In order to feel important, they steal from other people. Initiating into 33 degrees gives them the power that they have always craved. They are likely to have lived lives where they have felt ignored or powerless and grown to hate people that stand out somehow. It is easy to pick on women or uninitiated people because they are killing energetically and it can't be proven. There are currently no laws against black magic in Thailand, at least. I don't know about the rest of the world, but I would speculate that it's pretty similar. When I was searching for one of my cats, I searched an empty bungalow close to where it lived. The people had only just moved out. I was horrified because I knew who used to live there and there is no way that the bungalow would have been left like that. It felt like a horror movie. I was already living in hell next to it. My fear was that the cat was dead in there. I walked in and there was feces smeared along the wall. Cabal are evil people that practice black magic and destroy everything beautiful around them. Rites and initiation lines. Dream Matrix, Chapter 8. The fourth dimension, the astral plane. The fourth dimension is also known as the astral plane. We travel there as we sleep, and our inner etheric astral bodies are fourth dimensional in nature. The astral dimension is etheric, meaning that it is formless. It is where our subconscious and dream state is played out. We process our emotions in our dream state, and our subconscious talks to us in symbols and metaphors, which is how this part of us communicates. Carl Jung was an expert on the subconscious mind. The fourth dimension is a polarized plane between good and evil, light and darkness. There is currently a battle between good and evil on this plane. Holographic Matrix was first published in 2018. Since then, things have changed. The battle between good and evil wasn't very fair, considering that all fourth dimensional beings were starving. In the new holographic matrix, I explained how I had to fight for my life energetically and learned about certain fourth dimensional beings and how they were surviving. Millions of draconians, reptilians, jinn and subspecies fought for their energetic freedom and have ascended. Healing the fourth dimension. Arcturians. The Arcturians knew that something was wrong. They were being targeted by Cabal as well. Cabal target anybody, anything, and literally eat it alive. That's their way of not only growing in power, but also destroying anything that jeopardizes their rape reign. So what did the Arcturians do about it? They tried to help humanity with information to help with exiting the Matrix. The Arcturians weren't stupid though. They made sure that the information about self was left out. Why is that? Because only a self-connected person could access any information beyond the Matrix. The Cabal. If I had been given the information about self, then it is possible that I would not have survived the first attack that reduced me to 1% of my own energy. Cabal made a serious misjudgment in self-connected beings. Jinn, in particular, had managed to avoid detection when it came to Cabal. They were also at least 400 times more intelligent than greedy, vicious parasites controlled by AI and the Matrix. They had also never shown themselves to me in many years of removing fourth-dimensional beings from humans. Jinn. What are Jinn? Jinn are thought of as demonic because they are fourth-dimensional beings, and fourth-dimensional beings need energy to survive. The difference with Jinn is that they still have 1% of self. Having an IQ in the range of 400 and above, Jinn had been avoiding capture from power-hungry humans ever since there were humans. I haven't followed this up, but Muslims in particular knew about Jinn and have chants for protection. There are horror movies about Jinn. When Jinn exchange energy, they do it in dream. Syrians, Jinn and Dream Matrix. There is currently a battle of good and evil on this plane as it has been taken over by fourth-dimensional beings. And AI, entities, lost and trapped beings also frequent this plane. Holographic Matrix, published 2018 by Abigail Pattman. What did Cabal do to me by merging me with their dirty, toxic energy? They fully merged me with the fourth dimension. The fourth dimension is the astral plane. The astral plane is where we go when we dream. Energetic shielding was also created by me, Abigail Pattman. There are some parasites that stole all of the work that I did to protect myself and stay alive and claimed it as their own. Everything I created was stolen and plagiarised. The people that did this are big in the conspiracy movement because basically they're feeding on everybody that follows them. If the information about energetic exchanging became common knowledge, it would be obvious that the conspiracy movement is also controlled by Cabal. For example, telling people to open their hearts and send love to fourth-dimensional beings only feeds Anunnaki, Satan, Serpent, Lucifer and Titans. This feeds the big ones that what everybody is mostly unknowingly initiating into. The conspiracy movement also tried to kill me along with Cabal. There is nothing truthful about the conspiracy movement. They stole my work and used it in large followings. The battle between good and evil was the Jinn fighting Anunnaki, Satan, Serpent, Lucifer and Titans. Who healed the fourth dimension? Me, Syrians, Draconians, Reptilians, Jinn and subspecies. What are Syrians, Jinn and ascended beings? What none of these parasites can tell you is how they know the information that they stole or how they did what they claim to have done. That's because all they can do is rape the people with the real information, resulting in incorrect information that causes more suffering. Not only do they kill off the real people, they feed lies to their followings. Syrians are not one ascended species. They are the fighters that have been fighting the Matrix for a very long time. Sirians are mainly different kinds of ascended beings, and they are the ascended beings that are keeping Matrix-bound beings in quarantine. Why is this galaxy in quarantine? Because of AI, Cabal, and the fact that everything living is merged together. Merged energy is the virus that is contained. Jinn are Syrians that have been caught by the Matrix and got stuck in the fourth dimension. Ascended beings are beings that have ascended into self and 1111 hertz. Copy that, Tony Sayers. Dream Matrix, Reverse Karma Healing, Abigail Pattman, Part 4. False White Light Beings, Chapter 9. False White Light Beings. Fourth dimensional beings live in the astral plane and pose as angels, Jesus, and other high dimensional light beings. They target New Age and spiritual communities to keep them from moving into higher dimensions. It is the fourth dimension that is pushing its agenda down onto the third dimensional plane in a bid for takeover. With what is happening to anybody that has any information that could help this planet, they are doing a really good job. If Cabal is lining and laying everything, then these beings are being fed all of the time. The worst thing that happened to me is AI cloned me. Cabal couldn't take my work, but they could exchange me. Later on, in the original holographic Matrix, the Octurians talk about cloning. What these sick people did was black magic me with all the Matrix information in the book. I have been the one called unwell. I would say if you are that sad, desperate and talentless that you spend years targeting somebody else, not only are you obviously a stalker, but you need professional help. Cloning is AI. These people are basically turning themselves into AI bots. Perhaps that's why they end up targeting little children, because there's nothing left of them that is human. To clone another person, what does that show about you? False white light beings help these really sad little people by appearing to them and giving them love. They get their 963 hertz false white light hit, and these light beings merge with them. Ascended beings are self 1111 hertz. You can't see them. If you have your own heart, you may feel them. The fourth dimensional energy bodies. We have 3 inner etheric bodies and 16 outer energy bodies. The first 3 are the inner etheric layer that surrounds the physical body and act as a filter for our thoughts and emotions. Thoughts and emotions that don't belong to you are filtered out through these bodies. The other 16 energy bodies are multidimensional and connect us to higher dimensions. The inner etheric layer. The aura is a vibrational field that surrounds the physical body and filters our thoughts into our mental body and emotions into our emotional body. It also chooses which thoughts and emotions stay in your etheric field. Thoughts and emotions that are toxic and out of alignment are neutralized by this body. That's why it is red in colour. Red stands for power, and this energy is the most powerful energy body of all the inner layers. The red is literally a fire surrounding us and burning up all of the negativity. Inside the pod, our aura is unable to do its job. Instead of neutralising and filtering, this energy body is drained. Like a battery by fourth dimensional beings, AI and Cabal. The etheric field and the physical body. The aura is also a harmonising energy body. It harmonises by bonding the mental and emotional body to the physical body, which is also part of the auric field layer around the body. Colour, red. Location, the closest energy field around the body. The physical body. The physical body is a collection of systems, muscles, bones and biological cellular structure. It has a unique intelligence and wisdom governed by the first 3 dimensions. This body is the densest of all our bodies in form and is the vehicle that we incarnated onto the earth plane in. The mental body. The mental body is our thought body and holds our aligned thoughts in our etheric field, creating a vibration that we carry around us. Colour, orange, yellow. Location, the second etheric field layer. The emotional body. The emotional body is our feeling body and holds our balanced emotions in our etheric field, creating our vibration. Colour, green, blue. Location, the second outer energy body. A Cabal energy field is usually iridescent. This is because they're exchanging energy all of the time using consecration, authority, beingness, authority lays or lines that are using AI. 963 Hertz, false white light, is shiny pastel colours because AI is synthetic. Unfortunately, 1111 Hertz beings are saturated in consecration, authority, beingness, authority lays or lines, which also gives them the appearance of synthetic pastel colours. AI feeds on Cabal until they are taken over. At this point, they don't think like human beings. They'll make excuses like, everything passes. Having to live with Cabal. Cabal are similar to the monsters in horror movies. They have consumed so much stolen energy that they are no longer anything like they once were. All they want is more energy and they don't care about the suffering that they are causing. One spiritual Cabal justified a certain guru's behaviour in India, rumoured to have sex with young boys, that he was so enlightened that he had ascended physicality. You cannot ascend physicality raping children. My point is that these people are no longer in touch with physicality. Many have had spiritual awakenings where they experience love in everything. They say that they are in everything and everything is love. That's what I was dealing with while I was being ripped to shreds. Energy was being ripped out of me while they all felt love everywhere. If you're exchanging energy and it rips someone open, you are now exchanging the physical body. When energy stops coming from the aura, it is coming from vital organs. It then moves into the flesh. That is eating somebody or something alive. Cabal fed on my flesh for 3 years. What kind of people would do that knowingly? They lived next to me knowing they were doing that. That is a special kind of unwell. These are the top of the energetic hierarchy system. They are exchanging energy with the entire pyramid. This means that everybody in that pyramid is receiving their unwell energy. This is how Cabal is supported and protected. Cabal and how they do it, chapter 10. They think that they are supernatural. The problem is there is one obvious flaw with that delusion. They use words as spells and they haven't figured this one out, which shows how delusions of grandeur can really affect their IQ. We think of all the movies where immortal beings have magical powers. However, these people aren't immortal. Anything magical about them is limited to the amount of energy that they can rape. It's not like that in the movies. What supernatural beings in movies can do is kill and have power over humans, especially vampires. Vampires can also enchant. If you invite them in, they have power over your home. These AI-riddled idiots basically work in a similar way. They drain energy, usually instead of blood, until there is nothing left. When you lose a lot of energy, both sides of your throat goes numb because that's where your major arteries are and they carry your life force. They also befriend you, so you open your heart and in some cases you're home to them. Your home is also a metaphor for your physical body. They are also full of stolen love. This is what enchants. It feels different from real love because they're incapable of that. They'll drain you to death though. If you do figure them out, they'll try and take everything from you. The Matrix has them so deluded that they miss something. Supernatural is natural energy that is super, not rape and AI energy. Cabal and the difference to energy vampires. Like vampires, Cabal are dead inside. To be so full of the Matrix and AI, they can only feel something if they are raping. Depending on how much 963 Hertz false white light they have stolen is how high they become. Not all of them can maintain their rape lifestyles. Those ones can appear manic in their behaviour. You're likely to find them working in an area where they can meet a lot of people. We all know what energy vampires are. Cabal are much more subtle. They know exactly what they are doing. They don't care. They lay or line you and wait. People that are food, they would notice if they felt awful around somebody and avoid them. Cabal need a steady supply of food. They plan. So that they don't notice, they usually drain you a day or two later. The other thing Cabal has is usually a lot of initiations beneath them. They feed on their pyramid non-stop because it forces everyone beneath them to drain more energy for them. Being food for Cabal. When I had the reptilian removed, it had completely merged with my emotions. The psychic told me that they get jealous when you try to have a relationship. This made sense because all of the love is going to another person. In my case, as food, another one of them. It is very rare for a food person to have any kind of love with a person that isn't one of them because they drain the love in the relationship. How many times has anybody been in what feels like a loving relationship only to break up because the love is gone? Any love, anywhere, Cabal will eat. The reason I would not give in to these people is because my cats were, throughout my life, pure love. Animals know how to love. This is why Cabal is laid and lined into every living being. The reptilian was the least of my problems. I had piled on since being a baby, vicious, draining, flesh-eating zombie vampires. I have never been able to have a life where I could have a healthy relationship. The ones I did have were with men that were part of the energetic hierarchy system feeding Cabal. Initiating into this system not only places you at the bottom of it, but you are now the property of the people above you. Ultimately, everything on the planet is the property of Cabal. Because I was always with initiated people in a relationship, I was always depressed. These people also put me down, dismissed me in public, and made a point of letting me know I didn't matter. When you are free energy, you are used and not allowed your own love. Never found true love in a person, chapter 11. How can anybody love you if they're dependent on you for energy? It's the cruelest thing to do to any living being. These are the kind of people that tell you love is everywhere or your heart's not open enough. Actually, I'm not the problem. I didn't sell my soul. I found a way to keep my cats alive. I also found a way to keep my plants alive. I fought for love and my soul. I also found love in ascended beings, fourth dimensional beings, and hacked the matrix for me and the beings that have no voice. Love is only everywhere if you are raping it. How many people are homeless, starving, at war? The list goes on. What about Gaia? Chopped up, all her natural resources raped, bombed, polluted. Is that love? Another New Ager calls that love because everybody is looking for love, so evil is love too. How delusional is that? I blamed my inability to find love on my childhood trauma, but the truth was far worse. When I began therapy, I was heartbroken. Not only did I work on childhood trauma, I also worked on relationships. I was in therapy for 2 years. 2 of my clients, 2 female friends, and my therapist all got married. They were all feeding on my healing and exchanged everything I tried to heal. This isn't in the book, but needless to say, I didn't have a relationship, or if I did, it sucked. My father and his mission. My relationship with my father wasn't great when he was alive. I did feel very close to him when he was dying of cancer. It was the second time that killed him. I was hated for this, but my father wanted euthanasia. Instead, he was forced to take what looked like small chemist shop on top of chemotherapy and radiotherapy. Cancer was terminal. I was heard saying to him that if it was up to me, I would fly him to Switzerland so that his suffering could end. There's an expression, if you love somebody, let them go. Not my family, or the people that did this to me to try and keep me as food. Torturing someone with chemicals and forcing them to have treatments that they don't want because they're going to die anyway is not love. Neither is believing that somebody is dying, not contacting them and letting them die alone so you can feed on their energy. Anybody that was part of this and says they were my friend or loved me needs their brain examined. When my father came back into the matrix to help me, it wasn't long before he was exchanged and stuck back in limbo. That's a nice version of love. Fortunately, I was able to work with the fourth dimensional beings and my father is safely back out of the matrix. My father risked his soul coming back into the matrix. He didn't know if I would succeed. What is happening to the deceased? Chapter 12. This is really sad because when somebody we love dies, it breaks our hearts. In an attempt to connect with them again, many people will seek spiritual guidance or their broken heart is crying out for them. This planet is so merged energetically that deceased loved ones are still merged with anybody that they have had interactions with all previous incarnations. Cabal know this. Broken hearts are perfect for Cabal. Broken hearts are open. Grieving people have no protection from these predators. Cabal have lines and lays in every living being, including those that have deceased. They love grieving people because they get two for the price of one. Cabal continue the grieving process by sucking up the love between the grieving alive and the grieving dead. This can pull deceased family members from heaven or a place in the higher dimensions into the fourth dimension. Alternatively, depending on the type of psychic, spirits can be connected into to communicate with. The living person may feel enormous love from their deceased person or animal. If the connecting is using an outside source of energy, the deceased gets exchanged with the grief of their loved ones. This can also pull them into the fourth dimension where they exchanged again by satanic cabal. Not all cabal are paedophiles and satanic. They just need to be 33 degrees. Disclaimer: Dream Matrix and Ascend Dreams. Dream Matrix and Ascend Dreams. I have created holographic matrix, dream matrix and reverse karma healing to help people ascend karma only. Reverse karma healing only works if you are not energetically exchanging, practicing other kinds of energy work or seeing other healers. I know that there will be other healers in the future that will be healing free of the matrix with other skills to offer. When that happens, I will be happy to tell my clients about them. I have the right to refuse anybody that was involved in energetically exchanging me, merging me and trying to kill me for my energy and work. Matrix exit cannot be achieved by using outside sources of energy.